Once upon a time, there was an Indian water bearer, and every day he carried across his back this pole, and there was a pot on each side, and he had to walk for miles to the stream, and he would fill the 2 pots up and walk back up the hill to his master's house. And when he got to the master's house, he had 1 pot full of water and one that was only half full, because there was a crack in the pot. And so every day he walked to the stream, and every day he walked back up the hill and only had 1.5 pots. Went on for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, feeling very smug, the intact pot felt very good about himself because he always delivered the full quantity of water, as he ought. But the other pot was miserable and he felt inadequate, and he apologised to the water carrier, the water bearer, and said, "I feel terrible. You work so hard to deliver this water to your master, and every day I let you down." And the water bearer said, "As you walk to the master's house with me, look along the path of the flowers." And sure enough, as he walked up the hill, the pot looked down and he saw the most beautiful wild flowers all the way along the path to the master's house. But when he got to the top, he felt a bit miserable again because he only had half a pot of water. And the guy said, "You know what? Did you notice the flowers are only on one side of the path? I noticed 2 years ago you had a crack in the side of the pot, and so I planted the seeds. And so every day as we walk along the path and the water drips out, it enables the flowers to grow. And so for 2 years, I've been able to harvest the flowers and take to my master a beautiful bunch of flowers. And if it wasn't for the fact that you had the crack in the pot, that beauty would be lost." And so the moral to the story is, we all have cracks and flaws and imperfections. That's just who we are, we're human beings. The trick is to try and utilise those flaws to find the good in people and to try and turn a weakness into a strength. The second story I'd like to share with you is entitled "When the Winds Blow." So there's a farmer on the Atlantic seacoast, and he has the devil's own time trying to hire farmhands, because every now and again a huge storm blows up and comes across the farm, and it blows the cows and the chickens and the hay everywhere. So he tries to hire staff, no one wants to work with him. Anyway, this little old man comes up and he says, "I'll work for you." And the farmer says, "Are you sure? You sure you're going to be able to work on the farm?" And he says, "Well, I can sleep when the wind blows." I says, "All right, give him a go. There's no one else." So sure enough, the old man comes to the farm and he works from dawn till dusk, and he does this really great job as the farmhand. Anyway, one night, in the middle of the night, the farmer hears the wind starting to billow. There's a storm coming, So he grabs his lantern and he races into the old guy and goes, wake up, you've got to help me tie everything down, there's a storm coming." And the old man says, "I sleep when the wind blows." Farmer's furious. Doesn't know what to do. Anyway, he races outside, but what does he see? He sees that the cows are in the barn, and the chickens are in the coop, and there are tarpaulins over the hay, and all the shutters are drawn. He doesn't have to do anything because everything's already been done. So the farmer goes to bed and he sleeps when the wind blows too. And the moral to the story is, if you are prepared mentally, spiritually, physically, then when the wind blows through, you can be ready. The reason the farmhand was able to sleep through the night was he'd prepared. So my third story is called Collision Course. So with Collision Course, the Admiral of the fleet on the USS Abraham Lincoln is sailing down the coast of Australia with other ships following behind. There are destroyers and aircraft carriers. There's a whole fleet of ships, and the Admiral's feeling very proud. Middle of the night, and they see this light ahead, and his voice comes on. It's Jono. He says, "Mate, change your course, 15 degrees south." The Americans go back on the line and say, change your course 15 degrees north. Jono goes back on negative, change your course 15 degrees south. So the captain of the ship goes on. He said, I am the US captain. Change your course 15 degrees north. Voice comes back on, nah, mate, you change your course 15 degrees south. So the admiral of the fleet gets on the radio. I am the admiral of the USS Abraham Lincoln. I am here with 3 aircraft carriers, 3 destroyers and a whole fleet of support ships. Change your course 15 degrees south or north, 15 degrees north, or there will be severe consequences. At which point Jono gets back on the radio and says, well, this is Jono here, lighthouse keeper, your call. Moral to that story is, it never pays to be stubborn or think that your rank makes you right. We all love a good story, but you can see how much more compelling it is to receive a message through a story than it is with just an abstract concept. So I'm hoping in my speech this evening, I've encouraged you to try experimenting with delivering some messages in your future speeches by using the power of storytelling. Madam Toastmaster.